Over the past 5 years, I have launched over 12 private practices, and in this video, I'm going to walk you through, step by step, all the essential things you need to do in order to start your own therapy practice. I'm Brent Stutzman, the owner of Brand Your Practice, and I believe starting and growing a private practice should be simple, fun, and affordable for therapists. The goal for this video is to give you all the information you need to launch your own practice and grow it to $100,000 a year in revenue, so that if you want to scale to a group practice, you consider partnering with me. Before we get started, I have a private practice launch guide that you can download right now for free, and it has links to more how-to videos. It has a really detailed checklist and templates. Links to that guide are in the description below. All right. What you need to know is that starting a private practice is kind of like building a house. You first build the foundation, and then you furnish the house, and finally you invite people over for an open house. By the end of this video, you'll have everything you need to build that foundation. And in part 2 of this video series, I'll walk you through how to build your brand. And in part 3, I'll show you how to market your practice, which is the amplification of that brand. There's going to be a lot of information in this video, so I've included chapter links below so you can jump around to the different sections that best fit where you are in your practice building process. All right, so let's get started and build the foundation for your practice. The biggest mistake in starting your practice is not knowing your why. It's hard work starting a business, and to prevent burnout and failure, you need to know your why. Your why is the reason you're starting a practice, and it should include something more than just making money. So how can you discover your why? I want you to take out a pen and a paper and reflect on these 2 questions. The first question is, why are you starting a practice now? And the second question is, what would happen if you didn't start your practice? I'd like for you to frame your answers around these 3 areas: yourself, your family, and your community. So let's take the first question, for example. Why are you starting a practice now? I want you to answer it this way. What's the benefit for yourself to start a practice now? What's the benefit to your family to start a practice now? And then what's the benefit to your community to start a practice now? So take a few minutes, reflect, and write down those answers. All right, so let's take the second question. What would happen if you didn't start a practice? Consider answering the question this way. What's at stake for myself if I don't start my own practice? What's at stake for my family if I don't start my own practice? And then what's at stake for my community if I don't start my own practice? And I'm going to give you one bonus question. Why should you be the person starting the practice as opposed to someone else? By understanding your why, you'll be more motivated to push through the challenges and fears of starting a private practice. Don't skip over this part. Talk about it with your therapist, your family, your friends. Get crystal clear on your why. When choosing a name for your private practice, consider these 5 things. Choose a name that is easy to remember and to pronounce. You want people to understand what you do in 2 seconds or less. So don't make them guess what you do, and if you confuse them, you lose them. Keep your business name simple and clear. Number 2, avoid using your own name unless you plan to be a solo practice owner. If you want to build something that's bigger than yourself, consider a name that doesn't include your personal name. Also, there may be a time where you have the option to sell your private practice. So put yourself in the buyer's shoes. Would you rather buy a business with the brand name Karen's Couples Clinic? Or would you rather buy a counseling practice with a name like Thrive Couples Counseling? Number 3, when you're thinking about naming your practice, consider using a name that reflects your specialty or your niche. This will do 2 things. First, it will allow people to quickly align your brand with the services you provide. For example, Kid Matters Counseling, Thrive Couples Counseling, Bloom Child Therapists. You see how the name actually aligns with the niche or specialty that you have. People can quickly lock on to what you do and who you help. The second reason you want a name that reflects your specialty or your niche is that words matter to Google. If you want your website to rank a little higher on Google, try choosing a name for your practice with words like therapist, therapy, counseling, counselor, psychiatry, something like that in your name. So Kid Matters Counseling or Thrive Couples Counseling are great examples of this. Reason number 4, check if the name is available to incorporate. The way you do this is just go to Google and search your state name, so like Illinois, and then business name lookup, and see if someone in your state has already incorporated the name. This should take about 3 minutes to do. It's real simple. All right, number 5. When you are choosing a name for your business, make sure the domain name is available to purchase. And this is important for 4 reasons. First, your domain name is digital real estate, so you want to grab that digital real estate for yourself and for your business. Second, your domain name will serve as your branded email address. So for example, brent@brandyourpractice.com or brent@thrivecouples.com. Number 3, it will also be the hub of your social media accounts. And number 4, if the .com of your domain name is available, buy it ASAP. You do not need to buy all the variants, .org, .net, and .co, those things, unless you have a plan to be a nationwide chain or a franchise. If the .com is not available, then maybe buy the .co or the .net address. If there are a few .com domains available, just go ahead and buy them and reserve them. Just remember that your practice name is an important aspect of your brand, and it can impact how potential clients perceive you and how they find you on Google. Take some time to choose a name that accurately represents your practice and appeals to your ideal client. Hey, if you're enjoying this content so far, consider subscribing to this channel for more content like this, and hit the like button if this content is helping you think through how to launch your own practice. Thanks. Incorporating your practice can provide legal protection and tax benefits. Here are some steps to consider when incorporating your practice. First, choose a business structure. The 2 most common options for private practices are S corporations with a designation of a professional corporation or PC. And depending on your state's law and regulations, you might have to incorporate as a PLLC, which is a professional limited liability corporation. For example, in Illinois, a licensed professional like a lawyer, an architect, even therapists, you have to register as an S Corp with the designation of a professional corporation. So you'll often see PC after the names of businesses. Number 2, register your business with the state. This typically involves filing articles of organization or incorporating with the Secretary of State's office. If you use a service like LegalZoom or Swift Filing, they can register it for you for a small fee. Or you can just Google it and go through all the steps yourself. Most steps are very pro small business, so they make it easy to set up a small business in your state. Step number 3, obtain any required licenses and permits. This may include a business license or a professional license, depending on your field and location. So for example, in Illinois, practice owners have to file with the Illinois Department of Financial and Professional Regulation. Each state has a similar department. You register with the state office, pay a few $100, and they send you a piece of paper that you can hang on your wall or in the waiting room. Number 4, after this, you want to register for your tax identification number. This includes the employer identification number or the EIN with the IRS. It's like a social security number, but for your business. You'll need this number to open up business banking accounts. And eventually, when you run payroll, you'll need this number to set up your account with the electronic federal tax payment system. This is how you pay payroll taxes to the federal government. So you will need that EIN number. And finally, step number 5, this isn't legal or tax advice. If you have any questions, consult with an attorney or an accountant to ensure you are meeting all the legal and tax requirements to incorporate your practice. Also, you can just ask other therapists how they incorporated too. There's one more piece of regulatory red tape that you have to jump through, and that's getting your NPI number. An NPI number, or the National Provider Identifier, is a unique identification number for all healthcare professionals. That number is used to help send health information electronically, more quickly, and effectively. If you don't have an NPI number, insurance claims payments may be delayed and possibly denied. Even if you're planning to be self-pay or private pay, it will be helpful to have an NPI number so clients can submit to potentially receive out-of-network benefits. All right, so the NPI number is free, and to obtain an NPI number, you will need to register with the National Plan and Provider Enumeration Services through the Centers of Medicare and Medicaid Services. The link to register for your NPI number is in the description below. You should receive your NPI number in just a few days. And if you have a group practice, you will have 2 MPI numbers, one as an individual and one for your private practice. And you can look up other therapists and healthcare provider MPI numbers. Just go to Google and type in MPI lookup and have at it. All right, it's time to talk about finances. I can't stress this enough. You must have a business bank account to keep your personal and business expenses separate. You should really have 4 business bank accounts, and here's why. To eliminate confusion around your business finances. My approach is a hybrid of what the author of Profit First, Michael Michalowicz, teaches in his book, Profit First. Michael advocates for 5 business accounts, but I think practice owners really just need 4 business bank accounts. So let's jump in. The first bank account you need is your operations account. If you have a business account already, this is that account. This is the business checking account where all of your money flows into. Here you'll pay your practice expenses, your staff, your utilities, even yourself. The second account is your tax savings account. Here you will take a percentage, usually around 10 to 20% of your income that comes into the practice, and place it in this account. This way, when it's tax time, you have plenty of money to cover your taxes. You can also use this money to pay your quarterly taxes if you do it that way. And if you have any money left over in your tax account at the end of the year, you can use it as like a little buffer for the following year, or you could take it out and reward yourself with something awesome. The third account is the tried and true business savings account. I recommend that you put 2 to 5% of revenue in this account. This will help you save money for a rainy day fund or upgrades to your office or whatever you need for your business when you need extra cash. But the goal here is that you should be able to build up enough cash to cover 4 to 6 months worth of expenses. And don't feel like you have to fill this up with cash right away. Plan to use the next 6 months to 12 months to build up those reserves. The fourth savings account I want you to open up is called the profit account, and this comes from Michael Michalowicz's book. For this account, I recommend that you put anywhere between 1 and 5% of revenue into this account. This is the money that you will take out once a quarter or maybe once a year, and you just splurge on yourself, treat your family, or whatever, buy a fun experience. It's money that you can do whatever you want with, but this is to reward yourself for being a practice owner. Okay, so open up 4 business accounts. You have a checking account for your operations, and you have 3 savings accounts, one for your taxes, another one for just a savings account, and then a profit account. This is one of the best ways to eliminate financial blind spots in your practice and to make sure you are financially secure. This is what I do for my business, and it's one of the first things I do with my practice owners when I partner with them to scale their practices. I promise this system will transform your business. Hey, if you're enjoying this content in the video so far, consider subscribing to the channel for more content like this. Hit the like button if you find this content helpful. If you have any questions about what you've heard so far, leave a question in the comment below and I'll answer it. Okay, let's keep talking finances. You will need to create a simple budget for starting your practice. I have a free Google Sheet that you can use to budget for your expenses. The link is in the description below. Your biggest expenses will be your rent and utility, like electricity and internet and a phone if you have that, software, and Google Ads if you choose to run those. Just go down to the description and click on the link to go to the Google Sheet and start playing around with the numbers so you have a good idea of what your expenses look like. All right, let's talk social media. Whether you plan to use social media or not, just grab your business name handles for the bigger social media services. And why would you do this? Well, again, like the URL, your domain name for your website, social media accounts are digital real estate. You don't want someone else moving in and parking their business on your business name. My recommendation is to register your business name on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter. Just start with those 4, even if you don't plan to use them all. If you want to use social media for your practice, then start by using the platform you are already using. So if you're already on Instagram and you use it daily, then make that your primary social media account for your business too. Just keep it simple. My own personal opinion is I'm not a big fan of social media for growing your practice. I spent a lot of time, hours, and money doing that for my clients, and it just didn't have really great returns on it. I'd rather spend my time showing up on Google, so doing things like search engine optimization, or spending your time and money developing your referral sources in your community. But social media can be helpful if you just have a simple business page. and make sure you just update it at least once a month. You can use a product like Therasas to schedule your social posts for several weeks out. My last piece of advice is do not register your business on Yelp. It's a horrible business. Just don't even use them. And you can just Google why if you want to find out more about it, but just trust me, don't use Yelp. Okay, so we've covered social media. Let's talk about office space. If you're going to lease a physical office space, here are 3 things to look for while searching for that perfect office space. Number 1, make sure there is plenty of parking. You do not want parking to be an issue for your clients. When my wife's practice, Kid Matters Counseling, first started, we had to make images to show people how to double park in the parking lot. It was terrible. So make sure there's just plenty of parking so it's not an issue. Number 2, make sure you have room to expand. It's been my experience that those who have a solid marketing plan will grow quickly. So you want to make sure that the building that you're in has enough square footage for you to expand. Number 3, make sure there's a waiting space for clients. Now, I don't like waiting rooms because that just takes up square footage that could be used for potential revenue generating spaces, but you do need some sort of space for patients to wait, especially if you're working with kiddos. You want to have that space for the parents to hang out in while you work with the kids. I've also seen counseling practices that have a shared waiting room or common room with other businesses. You'll usually find this in larger buildings with condos or business suites. So make sure you have a waiting room that complements the size of your practice and you're good to go. So those are my 3 tips to finding the perfect office space. First, make sure there's plenty of parking. Number 2, make sure there's room to expand. And number 3, make sure there's a waiting space for clients. There are a ton of electronic health records out there, but I think there's really only 2 or 3 of them that are great for therapists. So here are 5 things you need your EHR to do. First, your EHR should be able to collect credit card payments. This includes debit cards and HSA cards. Second, your EHR should be able to easily submit insurance claims and create super bills. Even if you are self-pay or private pay, being able to create super bills to give to your clients will be important. Third, and this is a no-brainer, your EHR should be HIPAA compliant. And fourth, your EHR should have a seamless scheduling experience. Scheduling is one of the biggest time wasters for practice owners and intake coordinators, so make sure that this is a simple process and automated if possible. Fifth, your EHR should be scalable. Here's what I mean. Your EHR should be able to grow with you as you grow. So whether you are a solo practitioner or you're like one of my clients who has 25 clinicians with 2 locations, your EHR should be able to scale with you. Look, I've worked with dozens of practice owners who have used several different EHRs throughout the years, but there's really only one that I think stands out, and that's Simple Practice. It does all the things like I talked about above. It schedules clients, it can communicate with clients, it can organize your paperwork, you can charge your clients with credit cards, you can submit insurance claims. It does all those things and more. But the one thing that Simple Practice does, and it separates itself from the competition, is the dashboard analytics. Every practice owner needs a dashboard to be able to check on the financial and the operational health of their business. And Simple Practice with their dashboard and their analytics beats the competition in spades. 90% of my clients use Simple Practice and they love it. So if you haven't chosen an EHR yet, or you're frustrated with the one you're currently using, I want you to click on my partner link, which can give you up to a 60-day free trial of Simple Practice. It's a special deal just for partners like myself, so I want you to take advantage of it. So click on the link down below and start your free trial today. When it comes to email, you need a service that's HIPAA compliant and scalable. All of my clients use Google Workspace for their email. It's basically Gmail for business. The Business Starter Plan includes a HIPAA compliant version that starts at just $6 per month per user. You will also need to sign a BAA with Google, which is pretty straightforward and they make it easy to do, but you have to use one of their paid plans. There's a second option that's great for solo practitioners, which is Therasas. A subscription with Therasas will allow you to have your own HIPAA compliant email address. So I've mentioned Therasas a few times in this video, and I want to take 30 seconds to explain to you what it is. Look, many private practices have an inefficient system for capturing, qualifying, and scheduling new clients. Many practices struggle to keep up with the demand of new client appointments. And whether they're using Post-it notes or a notebook or some sort of spreadsheet, potential clients often fall through the cracks. Even worse, many new client leads are often left waiting for a response. In their moment of need, they reach out for help to schedule an appointment, but they never hear back from the practice. This lack of response often leads to two significant negative results for the practice. First, the potential client's first experience with that private practice is one of silence, which implicitly communicates to them that they don't matter. The second negative result is that the practice just lost revenue. This is why I designed TheraSAS, a powerful software to organize all new client appointment requests, automate the initial conversation, and schedule the client leads if they're a good fit for your therapy practice. TheraSAS uses HIPAA-compliant automation and messaging so you can instantly connect with the new client, easily manage waitlists, and track every step in your intake process with real-time analytics. As soon as a new client lead asks for an appointment through one of our forms that you embed on your website, an automation kicks in and two things happen at once. First, that new client lead immediately receives a text message and an email letting them know their information was received and someone will be reaching out to them shortly. And second, that information from the website is immediately organized into TheraSAS's database and notifies your intake coordinator to quickly follow up with them and see if they are a good fit for your practice. Look, you've worked too hard to build your practice. Don't let new client leads fall through the cracks. Being known for having the best care in your community starts at the very beginning when someone reaches out for help. Level up your intake process with TheraSAS to help you capture, qualify, and schedule new clients. See if TheraSAS is a good fit for your practice today. Go to therasas.com and schedule a discovery call to see for yourself. All right, let's get back to the video. Let's talk about getting a cheap business phone number. There are a few ways to get a phone number for your business. The first way is to get a Google Voice number. You'll probably end up using Gmail for emailing, and buying a simple virtual phone number for your business is an easy solution. I think it's like $10 or $15 a month. Second, if you don't want to use Google Voice, you can use a product like TheraSAS. Every practice gets a business phone number and a mobile app to receive and place phone calls for their practices. It's 100% HIPAA compliant text messaging and calling. It's a great way to get started as a solo practitioner. Now, if you'd like to scale up to a group practice, Grasshopper is another option for multiple virtual mailboxes. Many of my practice owners use it. It's a little clunky, but it gets the job done. All right, we need to talk about bookkeeping. There's a lot of bookkeeping software out there, but QuickBooks is the most widely used bookkeeping software, and it will be the backbone of your finances. Do I like QuickBooks? Not entirely, but 95% of accountants and bookkeepers use it. And believe me, it will save you hundreds of dollars every year around tax time, so you're not scrambling around trying to get all your documents together. Everything in QuickBooks, if you update it regularly and get in there and use it, or you hire a bookkeeper, you will only spend a few hours doing your taxes at the end of the year. My theory is just use the program the accountants and bookkeepers are already using. Here's the deal. You don't want to have confusion around your finances, and you don't want to have to spend dozens of hours every year preparing for your taxes. My bookkeeper keeps my books up to date, and I spend about 2 to 3 hours on taxes every year. Everything is ready for our accountant when they need it. If you need a bookkeeper, I highly recommend using Navigator Bookkeeping. That's what I use, it's what the majority of my clients use. Plus, they can give you a discount on your QuickBooks subscription. So check them out. I put a link to them in the description below. Thank you to TheraSAS for sponsoring this video. And in part 2 of this series, How to Brand Your Practice, you'll discover how to create an amazing logo, targeting your ideal client with a compelling and clear brand message, and what to include in your homepage of your website, and so much more. Now that you know how to build the foundation for your private practice, in part 2 of the series, you'll have everything you need to furnish your new practice. All the links mentioned in this video are in the description below. And give me a like if you found this information helpful, and subscribe to the channel. If you got a question, leave it in the comment section and I'll be sure to answer it. I'll see you in part 2 of this series.